There it is.
Eventually finds it. Mayor, do you want to just get back to go ahead and?
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you for being here. This is a meeting of the City of Philomath Housing and Economic Development Committee. Today is Tuesday, March 10th, currently 6:02 p.m. And I'm going to call this meeting to order in absence of a chair. And we'll start with a roll call. Maybe if we just want to go around and quickly introduce ourselves. I'm Christopher McMorran. I'm the mayor of Philomath, and I'm one of the city council representatives on the committee. Maybe if we start down at the end.
I'm Whitney Smart.
That's all.
That's great.
Spencer, and I am one of the city council representatives on the committee.
Jessica Andrade, and if you couldn't tell by this, I am also a counselor.
Chris Workman, city manager.
Ellie Fredericks, committee member.
Dave Alba.
Nancy Murphy, retired land use and transportation planner.
Ron Derrick, civil engineer.
Wonderful. Thank you all for being here and joining us. Maybe we'll just approve the minutes really quick and then we can move on to electing a chair. The only thing on the minutes, do we know who moved to approve the minutes?
No, it was questionable in the notes.
Okay.
So we thought we would ask the group, does anybody want to take credit for the motion?
From last meeting, or just if you, on page 1 here, it says, there, we can write down who made the
I
motion.
was not here, so I can't take credit.
Okay, David.
So, or, I think
Great, okay, so you abstained? Okay, I'll move that we amend the minutes from the Monday, October 6th, 2025 meeting to read that Dave Alba made the motion to approve the minutes as presented and that Jessica Andrade abstained from the vote on the minutes. Is there a second on that motion?
Second.
Oh, yeah, you got it first. All right. It's been moved by Mayor McMorran, seconded by Carly to amend the minutes to read that Dave Alba made the motion to approve the minutes and Jessica Andrade abstained from the vote. Any discussion on that motion? Okay. All those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye. Aye. And that motion passes. So now we're on to the minutes as amended. Are there any other changes or questions about the minutes?
A question.
Yeah.
I recall, one of the main points we made when we talked about affordable housing was when you set the lease and maybe that it stays affordable housing for long. We sort of said as long a period as of time.
Mm-hmm.
Is that documented in here somewhere? To me, that seemed like, that in an advisory capacity, that's something that was important.
Yeah, no, I agree. We'll capture that in the minutes for this meeting. We'll just add that too. The discussion that was noted and kind of particularly noted for this meeting. So we'll capture the minutes for today. Okay, that's great.
Thank you. Any other discussion of these minutes? Okay. Then I'll move that we approve the minutes from Monday, October 6th, 2025 as amended. Okay. It's been moved by me, seconded by Councilor Andrade to approve the minutes from Monday, October 6th, 2025 as amended. Any discussion on that motion? Would all those in favor please raise your hand and say aye? Aye. That also passes unanimously. Okay, thank you all very much. Now, I'll stop running things if we can elect a chair. Usually we like to have the chair be someone who's not on the city council, just because it's kind of the point of these committees is to get more community involvement. in general, it's not a heavy lift. Chris does most of the work on preparing the agenda, and you can kind of be as involved or not with that as you wish. So that's up to you, given your capacity. Most of the things that like this committee does are referred from the city council anyway. So the agenda is usually just kind of things the city council needs feedback on. So it's not a lot of like super heavy policy work. And then the main role is just doing what I'm doing now and kind of chairing the meeting. Because I also chair city council, I just by habit am very formal about chairing meetings. For these kind of meetings, they don't always need to be that formal. It just making sure everyone has a chance to speak, making sure that we have some sort of, motion and vote taken in the minutes. So does anyone really want to take that on, or does anyone like to nominate someone to take that on? Either way works.
I will say that I will not accept it.
Okay, that's still helpful.
I'll volunteer.
Okay.
If it's gonna be fairly informal, that's
Yeah,
fine. I mean,
sure. Okay. Are there any other nominations or volunteers? Does that work for folks?
We could have a vote off, we could vote.
Okay, then I'll move that we appoint Ron Derrick as chair of the Housing Economic Development Committee. And I guess I should say for this year, we usually elect chairs for the first meeting of each calendar year. So is there a second on that?
Third.
Give it to Spencer. Okay, it's been moved by me, seconded by Councilor Irwin to appoint Ronald Derrick as chair. Any discussion on that motion?
I just have one quick question. So I know the meetings have been kind of haphazard in the past. Is there a regular schedule set up now? Or-
I'll work with you on that, yeah. It's
Okay.
something we need to do better at, so I'd like to get a set schedule.
Okay.
We've tried that in the past, and the meeting that we had a conflict, and so then it's kind of spiraled from there. So, yeah, I definitely want to get on a set schedule, review the, topics that we want to cover with you a little bit ahead of time, kind of help set that a little bit better. So at the end of this meeting, we're going to talk about next meeting a little bit as well, kind of set the table.
And I think that's a great thing about, we have a chair who can be a little more engaged of kind of just making sure we're having momentum and moving things forward. So, any other discussion on that motion? Okay, would all those in favor raise your hand and say aye? Aye. Is that an abstention over there? Or
Oh, I guess.
You can vote for yourself.
you, okay. All right, then we'll say that it's also unanimous. So congratulations, Mr. Chair. Turn it over to you for our new business. And you may want to turn it back over to Chris if you want, but I'll let you say anything you'd like to say. Yeah, that's true. If you want to sit in the, big chair, you're welcome to, but.
So since I missed the last meeting,
For October.
yeah, I was gonna come some conflict. So I think I've only been to the original meeting we had,
That's fine.
but
Okay.
anyway,
Well,
that's a punt.
Fine, so I'll just recap. So on the new business, the affordable housing project update. This is the affordable housing project that the city council's vested in right now on 20th and Main. So right before you get to the Dairy Queen on the right-hand side, just after the Arc. So there's the Arc, there's an empty lot, there's an apartment, strip of apartments there, and then it's the Dairy Queen in 19th Street. So it's that small little half-acre property. The city bought it several years ago. We kind of were friends of the city with the owner, and they reached out to the city directly when they were ready to sell and asked if we were interested in buying it rather than listing it. So we brought it to the city council, so this could be a good spot for an affordable housing project if we're interested in doing that, and they were, so the city purchased the property. Did a little bit of cleanup, got some of the grub and shrub and stuff off of it, and we've just been maintaining it. We've had a kind of intent to do some affordable housing. Councilor Andrade and I ran into a developer that expressed some interest, so we started conversations with them. Those conversations led to more conversations with the city council to go ahead and enter into an agreement with them. So we're kind of like dating right now. We have an agreement in place that says we'll date, we'll see how we like each other. We were waiting, we kind of set some ground parameters and some timeframes in place. We're only gonna date for so long before we get a ring, right? So we got the ring, we got an actual purchase agreement a couple of weeks ago. That's under review, the city attorney is looking at it. We will get back to them with a response. The city council will probably look at that in executive session, because all future land sales, whatever, we look at in executive session, so we're not tipping our hand to price and negotiations and all that stuff. So we'll have an executive session with the city council in April. And hopefully after the executive session, the council will take action one way or another. They'll either reject it or approve it or something. The developer won't go into a lot of detail just because there's kind of a lot up in the air still, but the developer's looking at like a 3 or 4 story unit apartment complex, 1 to 2 bedroom units, maybe some studios mixed in there. They've got kind of a conceptual idea of the building, what it will look like, but they also are agreeable to running with the city's Timbertown theme and some of the aesthetics and things that go along with that. So again, a lot will be resolved with the approval of the purchase agreement and the conditions that get tied to that. Timeframe wise, they're waiting on the next round of funding from the state for some of the subsidized housing dollars that come down. And so I don't know that we have a timeframe on when that next round will come open. It's when the state's got money to open up another round. So we're at least, a few years out from probably a shovel ever hitting the ground. We're probably still several months out from even having a secure project idea of what's going to come through there. So I bounced that off of this group at the last meeting just to kind of give you an update on where we're at and kind of get some insight to the types of developments we'd like to see there as we're considering a purchase agreement or some type of a contract with this nonprofit group. So it would probably be helpful in a next meeting or a future meeting to kind of return to that and kind of see where the city council's, where they've landed. I will tell you, I've got my sheet of notes that I took at the last meeting, my personal notes, my personal professional notes from that meeting that I'll be relaying to the city council when we get into that executive session and we're talking negotiations on things we like and don't like. So those comments and thoughts will be helpful. I think that's all for the report on that one, unless anybody has any specific questions or any other additional thoughts on that project.
Remind me of the developer name on that one? I remember
The
packet.
nonprofit group is Commonwealth.
Did you verify that? Yes. As opposed to business?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
I think
Yeah,
their
they
website
are-
is all companies.
Yeah, Common Companies, yeah, they are national, so they've got developments throughout the country. They most recently just did the property on the Flats at 53rd.
Okay.
That's that new apartment, that's one of their, it's affordable housing project. Yeah. Okay, moving on, tonight, kind of similar, but different. We are looking at what is this? Recently adopted 25 to the company. That's not what we're doing.
That's the one.
That's where I messed up. Okay. I gotta go back a page. Okay. That wasn't even on there for now.
I was gonna say, I was enjoying the update. I was a little confused.
I just turned on page 2 minutes. Sorry. Okay, 14th Main RFQ proposals. All right. I was just excited to go through these, so that's why I want to jump in there.
Which is on page 3 of the packet, the agenda item summary. Yeah.
So,
The very back.
Oh,
That gets a little.
no, I've got that, but just trying to figure out.
Oh, did it print off weird?
no, this is.
It took a while.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so, the quick summary on that, we bought this property years ago, Urban Renewal District bought it with the intent of some type of development there, maybe some parking for the downtown area, maybe mixed use. There were options available. At the time, we knew there was some environmental hazards with the property. It'd been empty for many, many years, some said 15, 20 years, it'd been sitting empty. When I first got here, there were literally like this huge bush growing up through the front windows of the, it's kind of, it was off-putting to say the least. And then with the environmental concerns, nobody was wanting to invest in this property. There's too many unknowns, too many uncertainty, too many dollars at stake. So it just sat there empty. Anyway, the city's acquired it. We did some initial cleanup. We just finished more cleanup by getting the underground tanks removed back in December. So now the city council is kind of itching to do something and get something there, especially with streetscapes getting done. That's kind of where the whole streetscapes project starts, is there at 14th and Main and Applegate. And so we really are looking for a new building to go in, mixed use. It's going to be kind of a gateway into that downtown corridor area, right? So we want something that's somewhat substantial and interesting to look at and brings people to the downtown and all those things. So we looked at several different options with the city council, mostly leaning on an RFQ that we adopted from the city of Dallas. They had a very similar spot in their downtown, still do. And so they released an RFQ several months ago, just before us. And so we took their RFQ and made best use of it and put it out to the public. And we ended up getting 2 responses back on it. Our RFQ, did you guys have a chance to read through the RFQ a little bit? So it was kind of twofold. We're interested in the mixed use and we're interested in commercial first floor and then either a boutique hotel of some sort in the upper floors. That was based on the analysis that was done by consultants working with Dallas, that boutique hotel would work, but we wouldn't have enough, you don't have enough space in a half an acre plus to put a large hotel that's going to generate the revenue you need. So instead you go a little smaller and you go boutique so that people want to pay a little bit more for the atmosphere and the experience. So boutique hotel upstairs, or to do multifamily, right? Multi-unit, studio, 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom type units in the downtown area above mixed use. Should be great. So the RFQ allowed for either of those. And we floated out there and we got 2 responses back, and hopefully you've had a chance to review both of those. One of them went with the boutique hotel idea and was like, yep, we get it. We think we could do it. I've talked with them afterwards. They want to run numbers and make sure, they've got some more market analysis to do and some more due diligence to see if that can work or not. But they've given some assurance that even if that doesn't work, they know that they can get the housing to work, right? So they're kind of like, we're going to push for the boutique hotel. There's a lot of places in town that you can put housing. There's not very many places in town that you can put a boutique hotel. So that's the first primary focus. And I think that's where the council kind of landed too, was like, we'd really like the hotel, but if we can't get the hotel, then let's get some housing in there, right? So, so that's kind of the push. The other unit does not deal with hotels, not their market, not what they do. So they're very much in line with getting mixed use with commercial on the first floor, residential up above, with a mix there. In both situations, the housing would be market rate. So there'll be smaller units to help them be more affordable, but they're not going to be subsidized by the government. Section 8 housing or any type of any subsidies at all. There'll be market rate driven, but hopefully the cost will be a little better just because it's going to be a studio 1-bedroom. They're not going to be big, oversized 2-bedroom suites or anything like that, right? So that's intent. So for tonight, I was hoping we could go through each of them. As of last night, the city council directed that we invite both teams to come to the city council in April, it's the 13th, and they'll both kind of be interviewed, kind of present their proposals and answer questions as council has. I wanted to bring both of these to this committee to get your initial takes, so that again, we can give some feedback to the city council going into that meeting. Questions to ask, things to be concerned about, things that we really, really like and would push for, things in their proposals that we're not as excited about, that we maybe want to ask them to, what if we didn't do X, Y, or Z, right? So, hoping to just have a little bit of a, open conversation with everybody. I kind of think we'll just take them one at a time and not necessarily read them page by page, but maybe go page at a time, like anything on this page that like triggered a thought, a comment, a question, and we'll just kind of go page by page through them and see what your interests are. So, if it doesn't matter to anybody else, maybe let's start with Hanlon development.
And I'll just say, if any of you are free on April 13th and want to join for that city council meeting, I'd love to have you there too, but that's not a requirement, just saying, yeah. But maybe let us know if you're coming, just in case it ends up being a quorum of this committee, we can
We'll just
publish that.
notify it,
Yeah.
yeah. We'll just say it's combined.
Yeah.
So I guess with Hanlon, again, a very large overview in the cover letter, but anything in the cover letter that jumps out at anybody? Again, I'm looking for, we like this, we don't, I like this, I don't like this, I have a question about this. Sorry, yeah.
Well, just seeing that they have a team of these, of like who they work with. Cause I think the other one was vertically structured, so all in-house, so the, right, versus here where they have a collaboration, and I can see that being both a benefit and a not so much of a benefit if there's if something were to arise and there's miscommunication. I don't know. Do you see there being any, I guess one being better than the other, or does it just really depend on?
I think my question more is like, have they worked together in the past? Is this the first time they're working together? So as we go through, that might be a concern.
Mhm.
That jumped out a little bit because I always look at the numbers. We have 5 primary members and I only list 3. Hamlet Development, Access Architecture, and R&H Construction. So I'm like, is there like 2 from one and 2 from another? Or like when they say 5 primary members, are they individuals or like 5 group members? So I might ask something about that, like, you said there's 5 members, you listed 3. Is it 5 individuals from 3 different firms, or is it? Yeah.
Yeah. I guess, I felt like Hanlon had a lot of experience doing this sort of specific, like, mixed-use housing in an city center kind of thing, which I think is a pro and a con. And the general sense I got from it is that they are good at doing the thing they do. It also didn't feel as much like it would be super tailored to, like, a lot of it feels like they kind of do similar projects wherever they do them, which I think is good and bad. I think it means they know how to do that well, but it also means if we're looking for specific things, I guess I would just want to hear a little bit more from them around like how flexible they are with some of that. And part of this is even just looking at, like, I know we're not here yet, but like looking at some of the recent project examples of like, oh, these look all very similar. Which again, I'm not saying is bad. It's just like, yeah.
But it's a little bit like, we're willing to build our thing in your space rather than your thing in your
Yeah, yeah.
space. And we knew that, I mean, that's
Right.
probably would be the case, kind of no matter what, but
Yeah. So that would be
maybe
something
less so here. I also, and it might be jumping ahead, but in the deal structure section, they say that they kind of hint that they'll need public
Yeah.
support, and then more specifically, it sort of makes it sound like the more trouble we are, the more public support they want.
Yeah.
Trouble might not be the right word, but like, the more you want it to, the more
Yeah.
custom you want it, the more we expect you to chip in. And it's kind of at
The bottom paragraph or the bottom left paragraph under deal structure there.
Yeah.
Say public financing is needed to close the gap between existing rent costs and appraised value.
Yeah,
And I mean, we've obviously floated a couple things and I'm not sure how big the gap is because I couldn't really do that math in my head. They pretty specifically call out how much they're able to borrow, et cetera, which I thought was kind of nice. And
I noticed in the organization structure paragraph, last sentence, it said they will develop and negotiate lease for the ground floor retail. So what are they proposing to put in?
I don't know that they specified anything or have anything specific, but I think the intent there was just that they're not looking to the city to maintain ownership or lease it out, but and that they intend to build this and hold it, right? Like they're not gonna build and sell, they're gonna build, they're gonna operate, they're gonna do the lease and carry the lease, that they're gonna continue to be involved, not just as a builder, but as the kind of investor.
yeah, they spell that out later on too and say
Yeah.
that they're a long hold rather than a build and sell.
but I think just they're planning to build like empty storefronts and then,
Okay, so they don't have any, because some of these mixed use, they kind of have their own retail or stuff that they like to bring in as far as what they have in other projects.
yeah, I don't know, it didn't sound like that.
Yeah, that's a good question though, is if they have folks in mind already, if they've made contact with anybody already or.
A small market for a large retail organization.
Sorry, what was that?
I'm sorry,
That's okay.
I can't hear. I spent the afternoon with 4 10-year-old girls doing art during lab. Lost my train of thought. This is why I wouldn't be, I've been for 30 years. I like the scale of the Jamestown proposal. They seem to have a vision that fits. And Hanlon likes to build big and a lot of their style is boring and urban. But I lost my train of thought. But, sorry.
They did mention in the cover letter that they are working with a small business that they view as a good fit as a tenant. So I don't know that they're local necessarily, but that may be something they've kind of already got something in mind, which I would hope that.
I think my interpretation, this is my thought that I lost. My interpretation is that leaseholder is someone who manages retail properties and would not be the business, but would manage the business.
So. Just to clarify that, when you're talking about, were you talking about Hanlon or Jamestown? And Carly, which one were you? Oh, great.
Paragraph. Sentence.
Yeah, okay. Okay,
That's definitely an important question to ask. 'Cause
Yeah.
it could be a really good thing or a not so good, depending on
Yeah.
business and who you ask and, right? Because sometimes it's a tough lift for us to attract businesses. But we're also short on space for small businesses in general, so
Yeah.
that part doesn't feel right, like having them already know who that is isn't necessarily a big deal unless it's like a grocery store or, which is probably too small for that to be effective anyway, but just, I mean, there are a handful of things that we probably wouldn't get on our own.
I do like in the project vision, I know we're skipping around a little bit, we'll kind of do this a little bit. In the project vision, that second paragraph in intended uses, I do say, given the community interest and prioritization of active retail street activity, the ground floor street face of the building will be active, engaging commercial retail. So at least they've got a, they can't guarantee anything, but they've got a vision for what I think they have a shared vision for the city council. We don't want to,
Insurance agent.
no offense, but H&R Block or something like that. But
Yeah.
it's,
A bank.
busy once a month or.
Yeah, the
or once a
fourth
year.
bank or, yeah.
Have we identified, a shared value around, supporting local business and local economy when possible?
We haven't talked about that, but that's it's a good thought.
We kind of wonder even about the construction team that they're using being their own team that they work with rather than being a local construction
I
group.
prefer, yeah, I would prefer local hiring when possible as a priority, yeah.
Do you know,
That's realistic.
I'm always confused on that front, how much we're allowed to, like,
Select
yeah, like how much are we,
legally.
how much can we incorporate that into this decision making versus the best deal?
I think when we own the property and we're making a deal with who we want, I think we can
Okay.
have more leverage there.
Okay, it's not like the sort of putting out an RFP and whoever the lowest bid is gets it.
Well, if we build it into the RFP that we're gonna have
Okay.
preferential treatment
Great.
for
Awesome.
firms that are using or going like local first.
Okay,
You could even put a hard percentage in there. I mean,
Yeah.
there's different things we could do. You don't wanna go too tight, then you don't get any proposals
right,
in. But, yeah, there's definitely
Okay.
language we could put in there.
Well, and another important consideration, and that's kind of makes it's kind of a bummer, but a lot of these places have established relationships that help them know that the project is gonna be viable and make money for their like, there's sort of some streamlining that can be, like, if you're like, and now we want you to work with this other guy that you've never worked with before, they can be a little, I agree, but just to be clear, I vastly prefer
yeah,
local, and they're,
There's value engineering that they go between,
Yeah.
so the architects have a grand plan and the construction guys say, that's gonna cost too much money, and
Yeah.
so they come to some terms.
Well, yeah,
So
and
if
it-
you've got a team, it works.
Yeah.
pretty good. But I mean, girding builders or,
right, I was gonna say, we do have relatively local places that could handle it.
I mean, they've done these types of projects, but R&H, I mean, I've seen them all over. I mean, they've done a lot of stuff in Portland.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You have teams in different.
Yeah, I mean, they are large,
okay.
So
multi-state
the
contracts.
question about the Hanlon one is I wonder if it pencils out under 5 stories, because that seems massive.
Yeah, did they say 5?
3 or 4 stories above the commercial.
Oh, yeah, that is a lot. Yeah, I guess,
For the other property?
yeah, 3 or 4.
Or-
I know you said you wanted to say about Hanlon. Can I make a broad statement?
No. You can make broad statements after.
Okay, I just
Just
don't,
like compare, contrast.
yeah, like I did, it's like I don't have much else to say about Hanlon without talking about it. But I can wait.
Yeah, let's do, I have several notes on page 1 of the cover letter. Is there anything on the second page of the cover letter that jumped out that people that you marked up or that? Again, I know some of this they reference later in the document as well, but I just want to make sure we have kind of a thought around anything here that jumps out at us. Did you talk specifically about the Canby project? I think that's like the most recent one that they're working on. So they've given a little bit of additional credence to that project.
Beside that, I think it's clever that they converted the drive-through to an outdoor play area for their daycare.
Yeah, I mean, that should be a little bit of flexibility, right? Like customization.
I like that they're thinking about art. That they seem to think about art and prioritize that in their project, so, like, so that's nice.
I mean, at my first read, I've read this a couple times, my first read through in this, my thought was, they seem to understand the importance of like an active center, right? Like a business that's gonna have an active role in kind of economic development and industry and movement and activity in a place, right? And so when they talk about the one they did in Portland, when they talk about the one there in Canby, I mean, they like, I think repeatedly say, we recognize how it's important that communities want these, not necessarily gathering spaces, but active spaces in the downtown and the important role that they play. So That was my first blush, is they seem to understand that that's
Yeah.
important. This isn't just a business for us to make money, that this is, we understand why the city is putting this RFQ out, right? Like, we want it to be more than just a building that we make money on.
I agree.
They have worked, I mean, coming from the Dalles, a little bigger than Flint, but, you know, smaller town as opposed to just concentrating on Portland-based.
On the last page of the letter, one, I think I underlined, it says, designed to create entry-level housing appropriate for workforce, graduate students, independent seniors, so these aren't gonna be luxury apartments, right? They definitely have in mind that these are gonna be kind of entry-level housing units, not luxury condos or anything like that. So again, I think they've got the vision that these are downtown, maybe people that don't have vehicles or wouldn't want to, or need to have vehicles, right? Maybe they're hopping on the bus and going to campus, or they're, anyway, catching a ride up to the coast or whatever, but they seem to have that vision in line with, I think, what the city's looking at.
Does the city have an idea of the apartment complexes? I'm Dairy Queen over here, and then the great big one when you first come into town. How many of those are actually students?
I haven't looked at those numbers in quite a few years, so I wouldn't give you a good number. When they first filled up, they were about 50-50, but that's been at least 3 years plus since I've checked on that, and I'm sure that ratio could have swung one way or another by now, so yeah, I don't know. Probably find out. In fact, I'm gonna make a note to find out.
I was curious before, you know, are you really targeting students? Nothing, or?
I thought it was workforce, the,
I mean,
I think it said graduate students in there.
Graduate students, but, if they're gonna be smaller, you're not gonna get families coming in. So.
well, yeah, it's specifically 2 bedroom maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I
they,
think,
they did say they are interested in discussing the unit mix with the city, but to get a little more context about what we need.
mhm.
I mean, I think overall it's a good letter, like they know what they're doing, they have done similar projects. I don't think it's, I don't think, nothing in it like grabbed me, but nothing in it pushed me away either, I guess, if that makes sense. I think they are qualified, I think they responded well to the ask that we put out in the RFQ. So, yeah.
Founded by a woman too.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Mary is the owner, yep. Can we look at just the project experience page? I mean, I circled 20 years of experience, so again, this isn't their first rodeo.
I like that they prioritize open, honest, regular communication. I feel like that's a trickier thing when they're not particularly local, whoever you're working with. Local-ish, you know?
They renovated something on Water Street in New York, which was kind of odd, but interesting, but also cool. I mean, that seems like it'd be its own challenge, right? The financial district in New York is pretty tight. I mean, that's like not an easy project to manage, I don't think. Like quite a bit of affordable housing.
Can we talk about the project, please?
Yeah,
I think I said some of this earlier. I feel like I don't know if it's a pro or a con or a both, that I feel like the Jamestown proposal had more of like a, here's what we want to do. And we've already thought about it, we've already kind of drawn up plans based on the RFQ and everything. Hamlin, I feel like they say in like every other paragraph that like, we'd want to sit down with you and talk about what you want a little more. So I honestly don't know which one I like better. You know, whether I want to just come in and be like, yep, that looks good, or if I want to have this deeper kind of conversation. But because at first I feel like the Hamlin thing, I was like, oh, they don't really know what they want to do. Like they didn't put any specifics in here. But on the other hand, it's nice to maybe shape it with them.
I did the same thing,
Yeah,
but that picture was like, this is like the right scale.
right.
No, this is good.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess part of it is like, I feel like we did give a lot of information in the RFQ.
That's a good
So I
point.
appreciate that Jamestown like took the information we gave them in the RFQ and did something with it, whereas I feel like Hamlin took the information in the RFQ and said, let's talk about it. And I was like, okay, well, that's not really why we put the RFQ together.
Yeah, it's good point.
Right, yeah. So I guess I just say that because the project vision piece, I still don't fully have a good idea of what their project vision is besides mixed use.
And specifically,
Yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah, I do like there's, I mean, I'm a sucker for a good line, right? This is exactly the type of project that Access Architecture likes to focus on.
Right, right.
Like, this is within
Yeah.
our, you know, this is what we do. We love these types of projects that are impactful, visionary, right? Like, kind of run with it. And then I did notice, they do give a little bit of hint again about the retailer. That the retailer they're working
Yeah.
with is passionate about creating community, nurturing,
I like
creating
that.
space for other businesses. So,
Whatever that means.
yeah, it might be good to, I actually kind of like that question, like, tell us more about this retailer that you're working with, like, what does that look like? Just like a creative builder space, activity for business, or is it a?
let's say something about gathering to get a track record of creating a gathering space.
It's a little bit of a contrast thing, but Hanlon feels like it said exactly what they know what they could do. Jamestown said they're happy to build a hotel, but they only included one hotel
Sure.
in their relevant experience, which feels like if you had more than one, you probably would have thrown it there, right? When you're saying, we'd like to build you a hotel, and then here's a bunch of apartment complexes we built, or apartment buildings.
Sure.
I would have probably busted out a few more hotels. I had them in the books, for better or worse. I mean, that hotel they did build looks nice, so I don't necessarily, or fine, I like nice as like a,
You have to start somewhere.
yeah, exactly. That doesn't, it's not necessarily a disqualifier. Just,
Something to consider.
It's
Yeah.
notable.
I guess nice is, I mean, it's an okay hotel. It's not exactly, it's not a boutique hotel.
Think about like McMinnville and kind of the downtown that you see there. I think a lot of that would translate in mixed use regardless. So finding the right retailer, I feel like is gonna be half the battle.
One advantage for new business is that it'll be a modern building with modern services. So it's diversify what's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, there wouldn't need to necessarily be a lot of change to do something more modern than another small art gallery or next door.
Do you want to? Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Go ahead.
Should we talk about the deal structure page?
Sure.
I don't feel like it really gave me much. Besides that they seem pretty intent on getting some sort of public financing.
Yeah, I think that's a good question to
Mhm.
talk about, and obviously when you start talking about Wheeling and Dillon and all that, we get to specifics a little bit closer, but we want to make sure that they're not relying on the city coming up with
Right.
hundreds of thousands of dollars,
Right.
right? It's kind of like, we have a piece of land. We have a vision
Right.
and we're very friendly.
Yeah, it's a great city. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
we're near the coast.
Other cities do have like a construction fee or an excise tax where,
Sure.
for every new building that goes in, you take another 5 or 10% off the top of that and you put it into your kitty. And then when a big public project like this comes along, you've got some money you can put towards the
Yeah.
project that you want. We just don't do that, right? I don't have extra money sitting aside that we've been hoarding to put towards this big project. We've got some urban renewal dollars, but those are literally all but spent on other areas of the downtown, primarily 13th Street, and we're up to our indebtedness, and that urban renewal district's gonna be going away for the next several years. So we don't even have that we can really lean on. The only thing that's in play a little bit, if you did go with the hotel route, would be our transient lodging tax dollars. There may be some financial contributions we can make towards a hotel with future transient lodging tax dollars we collect from that hotel. But that's gonna look like some promotional material, maybe we help do some marketing, maybe we help, there's some things we can do to help, but it's not like, here's a check, pay us back over time type thing. Although recently, the city would be allowed to do like microloans and that type of thing as well when it works for the right business. But again, I don't think on a large hotel like this, that's what you're talking about. So there's just not a lot of money there. So I think anybody coming in, we just need to be very, very clear. And so maybe we just make a point of that Monday
Yeah.
during the deal to just let them know, kind of not without showing our hand completely, but it's like, we don't have a whole lot to put on the table
Yeah.
to attract you here, other than these friendly staff faces and
In the
the land itself, and, you bringing us the correct vision of what we're going to do and talk. So
Yeah.
So would the land be leased or sold?
I'm not interested in being a landlord, frankly,
Yeah.
in the city. I think we'd be looking at a sell. Yeah.
Well, that's a big contribution
Yeah.
potentially there.
I think that's kind of that's what our pitch is. Yeah, like if you have a great idea, you could get some land to build it on, kind of thing. I mean, we don't want to promise anything yet. Yeah. Right.
To follow up on that, is that what they mean by closing the gap between existing rents? Is that like renting of the land? Like but it doesn't feel like it fits with what they would be building. It's like,
Seems like it's affordable housing language.
It does.
Could be left over because they had them do it for.
I just was.
It feels a little bit form lettery.
Yeah.
At places.
The city's requirement for parking, because they're talking about 60 units.
There's no requirement.
Oregon state law now preempts us from requiring parking and development in our downtown.
So 60 units, looking at the other proposal, what's there,
The other proposal had,
15 parking?
I think it's at
spaces?
17.
So that takes up a lot of the new street parking. Because you gotta figure probably at least one car per unit
And you need some short-term parking for your retail.
and short-term parking. So if you have a bunch of residents parking on the street, 60 units is pretty good size.
60 vehicles.
Minimum, minimum, yeah.
Typically.
Even students these days got it.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to talk about with Hanlon, or should we talk about?
Maybe just briefly, like the examples that you like. I mean, is there an example that you think is most similar to what you would envision and flow with? And obviously siding and colors can all be changed, right? But as far as like structure itself.
I like that they called out mass timber. I feel like that aligns with a lot of the expectations. That wasn't necessarily the
The
expected
access one.
projects, but the expertise side of things that mentioned, yeah.
Age, number. The Canby Civic Block, the architecture, I think, is, if you remember, comparable. It's just a couple.
Yeah, we do like the access architecture has experience using mass timber, right? Like they've done a couple of buildings like that. No guarantee that they would use it on this one, but if there's something we were interested in penciled out, they have experience designing with mass timber, which not every architecture firm does.
The country club, the Sharpen Out Country Club. Has a lot of wood. People, covered thing.
Yeah, I like that patio place.
Office underneath too. Turns out I like covered patios, but.
Write that down, write that down.
Yeah.
Interesting, the domestic ground shelter renovation, the inside reminds me of the Pittsburgh, that like community center, the domestic violence shelter renovation, the Access Architecture.
Yeah.
Random, like that, community.
Yeah.
Because they have.
And my takeaway from the architect is there's a lot of breadth of what they've done, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they can do a lot of good stuff. They can definitely incorporate wood paneling and wood ceiling and all different sizes. They've got some smaller buildings. They've got some very large buildings. So I think architect wise, I think they're great, right? I mean, they're going to have a lot of options and not be limited on what they're able to design.
I mean, it looks like RH is done some pretty elaborate, like the 3-well in Portland would be amazing right there, honestly, and they.
Yeah, they've built big stuff. That was kind of cool,
really
maybe a little oversized, but maybe not 5 stories on top of. You know, it's important. Anyway, very capable, I guess. I don't feel like this would be a stretch for them at all, right?
No.
If anything, this is like, you do this, right? And this is how the project is done. Which is good. You get nervous when they're like, we would love to be able to build that for you.
Yeah.
That'd be the biggest thing you ever built.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
Have your crews operated a crane before? Okay,
Great.
Yeah, I don't think we're stretching them on making it.
No.
Building.
okay, let's talk through Jamestown and then we'll leave some time to kind of compare the costs. We'll probably do a healthy bit of that with just looking at Jamestown too, but let's kind of go similar fashion. Jamestown cover letter, anything jump out you as concerns or big pluses or questions for the council to look into a little bit more?
The cover letter just kind of felt like if I took the RFQ and I put it in like ChatGPT and said, write a cover letter based on this. No offense to whoever wrote this, but I honestly didn't mind as much because I feel like they gave a lot more detail. Like I feel like the Hanlon cover letter was the most detailed part of their application and everything else was a little more vague. Whereas I feel like Jamestown, the cover letter was the more vague kind of part and then everything else was more detailed. So it's kind of a wash for me, I guess, on that front. But I do feel like they did call out the things that we're looking for. So I appreciate that. They called out the gateway piece of it and
Catalyst for, I don't know if we use that language, but I mean, we have internally the idea of using it kind of as momentum for the revitalization, like a catalyst to continue.
Yeah, I think we even had specific language in the RFQ, like
yeah,
actually that we're not looking for a project to jumpstart the downtown. The downtown's moving.
Yeah.
We're just looking for somebody to jump in with the tide, right?
Yeah,
Like hop
keep
on
it
board while we're
moving, yeah.
going. But, you know, and I think that they all get that. This isn't a ghost town that's
Right.
looking for somebody to come in and take a chance and revitalize. We're a booming downtown area that's looking for somebody to jump in with us. You know?
yeah,
Well, I kind of agree with you that it does look a little like they dropped a cover letter into somebody's AI but honestly, if they did that and then went through it and said, yep, we can
Sure,
do that
sure,
and that and that, feel pretty That makes sense to me.
Well, and then he gave us visuals of concepts. that
Right,
we-
Yeah, it looked like.
That's what I said,
Yeah.
you get past the cover, you turn the page, you're like, oh,
Yeah, no, 100%, yeah. Should we talk about something?
yeah.
Okay. Make it.
Yeah, it's fairly similar to what was in the RFQ as
Yeah.
far as, you know, some outdoor area up above and retail on the first and definitely some wood grain integrated into the building a little bit. So definitely read through some of the Timber Town-ish stuff and, you know,
I do like the RFQ images better, but
Sure.
Yes,
And-
remember that picture that was, they had like a clock tower?
Yeah,
So was that what was submitted to?
yeah,
Okay, and then they came back with this?
yeah. Because to be clear, the image that the city used was made by AI.
Yeah,
And I'm assuming this was made by people who know what they're doing. So yeah, I just don't know if it may have been physically possible to build what we put in there.
oh,
But-
it was a box. It's like
Yeah,
a box.
yeah.
these are forward.
Yeah, but I do think, like, what about, like, what do you think is missing from this? Because I think that is an important thing. Like, what, I think we all kind of like it, but what do you,
Well, if you compare the RFQ image.
Yeah.
This has a little more industrial, new urban Seattle look to it.
yeah.
the,
Whereas the city RFQ image has a more down-home,
yeah,
character.
Yeah, I guess that's what I was
It's,
wondering too, like,
Yeah.
The picture that was submitted definitely looks more like a farm with that, like
Mhm.
Timber Town. Kind of fits in more with like kind of like the older western kind of buildings that are. And so I'm just wondering where this to me looks very, modern, so maybe you'd see in like Gene. I was wondering where they came up with that after getting the original picture that was submitted.
yeah,
From what I'm hearing, I'm wondering if it just kind of has to do with it mostly being a box and there not being much elevation changes or like, I guess, I don't know. Some
Architectural
shape to it,
features,
yeah. Which I'm sure could probably be.
So CB2 Architects has a style. When they first started out, they varied. In fact, on page 7, the two buildings in the upper left
yeah.
has that kind of, I call it a pagoda look, but
Yeah.
I don't know what's really called. But that's kind of their style. So I know these architects, I've seen them around quite a bit. They film the one building with the offices in, it's the City Hall in Salem, and they have that sort of, I mean, it probably fit into the western theme a little bit more than the urban and industrial ones of it. So they're good architects,
Yeah,
but they do have that kind of that style a little bit that sort of sets off the roof tone, I guess you might say, almost a little bit of overhang.
yeah. No, that's good.
So I wonder how successful all these little hotels are. Because I just had a red flag up in my head about the cover letter. This is from Texas, very different law, very different attitude. But the idea that something feels like a good idea and using third-party investment without caring if it's successful. The third party ends up holding the bag on the
Texas.
I grew up in Texas.
I think these little letters.
And saw development happen around me and then going back as a plan. Hearing stories about, we can build something pretty, let's find the third party investor, and then we just build something pretty and sell and walk away, and the third party person has to care about whether it's successful or not. So, I have no idea if that's legitimate. If they're good architects with a good reputation, that's a good thing, but
Well, I mean, whether it's a hotel or it's a mixed-use building, I mean, the architectural theme is kind of very similar, but I mean,
Yeah.
I would be concerned, the boutique hotel thing, I mean, especially with the new Gordon Hotel going in Corvallis.
I was thinking about that too.
Yeah, it might just be seasonal. On a good day.
Well, you know, and what driving, if you're gonna look between Philomath, Corvallis, being 2 miles apart with, you know, I mean, and that's the Obie family, I mean, that's Fifth Street Market. It's,
Oh, it's
that's,
a building?
well, that's the developer, the one downtown Corvallis,
They,
the
they,
Obie family.
they do successful development.
And they got a little financial backing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big question for this one, which there may be a very good answer to. I just don't know because
Yeah.
it's new for us.
This one also states, again, this is the one I was kind of referring to early in my comments, like, we'd like to push for the hotel and see if it works. And if not, we'll do housing. And I mean, they don't seem to have as many questions like, we can make housing work. We'd really like to put the boutique hotel in Philomath
Yeah.
because we think it'd be awesome and it's,
Yeah.
and what we're trying to do. So I like that attitude because I definitely think the RFQ leaned towards, again, we can put apartments in a lot of places. We can only put boutique hotels in so many
Yeah.
spots in town. And this happens to be like probably the best spot in town for a boutique hotel. If it's gonna work, it's gonna work here. If it's not gonna work here, we're probably years out from getting something, right? So,
So it'd be great to have a place for family to stay in town, yeah. It was nice.
all right, so I skipped around a little bit. I don't know if you guys skipped around a little. I went from this picture, I went to the project division.
I was interested to hear more about their pitch to buy the building to the west, or the property to the west. I don't know if we get any context for that.
So the RFQ,
Maybe I missed
touched
that
on
in the
it
RFQ.
briefly. The city's reached out to the owner there and they've expressed willingness to entertain. I mean, they're running their business there and they've run their business out there for years. They're not necessarily ready to move tomorrow. But the comment to us essentially was, we'd be willing to entertain something if somebody came by. When I spoke to the council about that, it was like, any of that would have to happen outside of our agreement with these guys, right? So they'd have to have separate conversations. The city's not interested in buying that lot and then making it part of this deal. It would have to be an agreement between the two of them, separate, and the city's just gonna focus on our property.
Got it.
So which one of them was talking about doing that?
Jameson.
Yeah,
And that's the
it's
acupuncture.
an acupuncture place, yeah. Yep. Yeah, I mean, she's got clients that she's had for years. I don't think she plans on doing anything different, so she'd have to, where she was gonna go, if she was gonna sell that, she'd have to find something else. So, but again, she was willing, she kinda gets it, and I think when you start looking at images and stuff like that, you start carving out acupuncture place out of there, and it's like, yeah, it kinda makes sense, right? So, we'll see.
Yeah, the floor plan they have on the next page makes a lot of sense with that.
Yeah, so we put a little bit in the RFQ, not a lot of details, other than just she'll have to, I think we said the city would like introduce them and say, hey, this is the developer we're working on our site, they're interested in your site, you have a conversation, that's all we have to do.
Just on the project vision piece, I agree with what everyone said around like doing some massaging of the design just to make it fit a little better with the Timber Town look. The other piece on that is just sort of for the gateway perspective. I think I'd like to maybe talk to them about that a little more. I appreciate that they talk about it a lot, but there's nothing on that building that like screamed welcome to Philomath, you know, having some sort of feature on it on a corner lot, like, oh, wow, look, you know, there's a thing. Just having something a little more kind of like iconic or unique, I think would be helpful. But I also know like we probably should not get too caught up in the architecture of this. I'm assuming they spent like a little bit of time drawing up a quick thing to put in an RFQ, not,
Yeah.
you know, this is not what will be built.
Yeah, it's mostly the scale.
Yeah. But I like the design concepts. I like the general sort of like floor plan idea. Yeah, I mean, I just appreciate that they went to the effort of getting that ready and having that there. I think Hanlon might do something similar, but it's nice just to see like, oh, okay, that would be like, 4 new storefronts, 5 new storefronts, that's handy. And kind of get a picture of that. But
Now, the one downtown Corvallis is a mixed residential and
Yeah.
hotel.
yeah,
Is that,
It's an option. Both developers have said they're interested in that, if that may be an option that we would look at as we get down the road. So I had phone call conversations after they submitted, just so they know I've got it, and I'd be going in front of council Monday, and I just spoke very briefly with both. And that came up in both situations, when I was like, I think council's looking boutique hotels still, but we love the apartment deal, and I was like, well, maybe it's a combination. So both of them kind of hinted at like, well, maybe we can't do, and it was really, maybe the market doesn't show that you could rent out 60 rooms consistently, but you could do 30, right? And if you did 30 plus another 30 rooms that you had, long-term residency in, and you did some short terms, half of it were short terms, then maybe it pencils. So then you still get your boutique hotel and it pencils out. So they both kind of went there, but it was still, both was like, we need to do some more analysis to see what the market's like there. So.
yeah, it does seem like I think Dave probably knows, don't you have the Airbnb thing?
Yeah,
Yeah, and it stays pretty busy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the two behind our office, they're the old City Hall. I see people in and out of there. Those two are short-term rental.
yeah, I mean, I think there is a market, I just am not enough of a tourism expert to know what the market is, but I'll leave that to someone who would be
yeah.
investing.
I mean, my experience with one space, the scale is,
Right,
but it's been interesting to hear people, the reason. Family, they want to go to the beach, but visit people in Corvallis. Games, they're close to OSU, but it's a little more affordable. And they're definitely enjoying, the restaurants,
Mhm.
and Dirt Road and Dizzy Hen, and they talk about that they can walk around and do things.
Mhm.
Well, and short-term rentals are getting tougher at the coast too, because of all the new regulations and,
Yeah,
so that might make the mixed use more help make that, you necessarily have those same conditions in.
yeah, because people they're going, they'll go to wine country, they'll go to the coast, and visit friends in Corvallis, so they feel centrally located.
Just more so if what you want, like if you need, like we often, my family is large enough that hotels don't work very well if we do something, and so we have to fight for a short-term space. This would be better than, I guess is what I was thinking, is this could be really nice, like you said, you could go places, a little more affordable, less beach rental churn house type. Yeah, seems like there'd be cool option.
Can I skip ahead to the relevant experience? Piece, I think? I just was talking earlier about, they did have experience building one hotel in Scappoose, which I agree it'd be cool if they had more than one, but I did appreciate that it's the first hotel in a high growth market. Like, I just like that is in a smaller town.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, oh yeah, we have lots of experience building hotels in New York City. Now we're gonna build one in Columbus. It's like, well, like at least, okay, they are literally, as we speak, building a hotel the first hotel in a smaller town. Like, I appreciate that experience, even if it's a different style of hotel. But-
Yeah, and I don't know how different a hotel is from an apartment necessarily. I assume there's some fairly significant differences, but probably not insurmountable. It's not like some special niche, right? There are a bunch of rooms with,
It's just the rooms, I mean, all the fire requirements and
Yeah.
stuff remain similar.
right? Probably same electrical line, like it's just a whole bunch of
Oh, you have the units, right? You have bathroom.
Lots of plumbing.
Yeah, so if anything, it might be easier to get it in there.
Yeah, I guess I'm even talking about like the pulling together the financing. Assuming that's a different thing for a hotel versus a residential, but yeah.
But again, generally speaking, they can build the size, right? They've got experience building
Yeah.
large 3, 4, 5-story buildings. I think it's Councilor Andrade, maybe you mentioned about them being vertical. Was that you or is that? somebody? Just their structure. Yeah, they're all Jamestown, so it's Jamestown Construction, Jamestown Architecture, so they're kind of all in-house.
The architecture is,
Right, so we wouldn't get that local employment construction. But they would
yeah,
use the local company.
They have a construction PM,
They're
listed,
using
but
it
not
themselves.
anything like that, so they would be.
They're not subcontracting, basically, right?
I mean,
Oh, they might be.
They
Well, they
could,
might still be, but there's some.
Yeah.
okay.
I think that's a,
The Jamestown Development for
For
Design,
those, I guess that's.
capital asset control, and then construction does pre-con, construction modeling, the construction delivery. But I'm sure they'd still be getting subs.
yeah.
I do like, again, bottom page 6, under the vision still, just to note, tends to deliver, own, and operate, like all the movement to a gateway hotel, so
Yeah,
they're not
okay.
building and selling, they're gonna build and operate, hold it.
And they do mention on page 4 that they have, they call it a local hotel partner who they would bring in as like a consultant, it sounds like, so. Kind of,
It was on page 4?
yeah,
yeah.
How did I miss
One of
that?
second paragraph, it's kind of buried.
It's the last sentence.
I don't know if they have like a specific, it's a vague phraseology.
The hotel notion seems a lot more viable with this group.
Yeah. They seem-
Experience.
I said one of our local, not our,
Yeah.
but one of our local partners. They have multiple, they have more than one, right?
Excuse me.
Or they just have the one and they want to make themselves.
Get it?
One of our partners.
depends on the order in which you,
The one.
So overall, and like, I feel like I know more how the council and Chris feels for those who aren't council. Do you like overall, how are you feeling about this sort of between the two? Do you have, thoughts, preferences? Do you have any other strong questions we should ask? Like, what would be appropriate for us to take back to the council?
that was gonna be my question, like, what do you wanna know? Like, what do you wanna
Yeah.
find out, what matters?
I mean, and I've been writing down all the questions we've
Yeah.
been talking about, so we'll have those
Come up
ready.
with good questions.
Yeah,
I'm still, not sure if it was up to me if I would do hotel or housing
Right.
mixed.
yeah,
So I don't know how to,
okay,
because if I was going to hotel, then you'd go.
Right, right.
Work with Jamestown and do it. I'm not completely convinced what direction
okay.
to go.
What would convince you, what would you need to be convinced? Like, what type of information would you be looking for? Are you just looking at like hotel stays in the region or?
Yeah, I don't know.
occupancy
I'm
rates,
not,
or?
yeah, I mean, I'm a by the feel person. So I'm not good with, but I'm sure that's what you would need to do. You do the market analysis
Some sort of feasibility.
and make sure
study.
the feasibility is really there. I don't know how to analyze.
I don't know the other one.
Sustainable
If they're gonna own it and run it themselves,
They have a
then
hospitality.
it's viable.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd have to, right. So I guess that leads to the question then, as you're talking to them, the assessment of how confident or how good are they at assessing viability?
Yeah.
of a
How,
project?
yeah, how are you gonna come to your recommendation, right, or decision on which way to go? I mean, I think they really do wanna, I mean, if the city says hotel, and they say it won't work here, then
Mhm.
they're just gonna leave. They're not gonna build a hotel just because we
Yeah.
tell them to, right?
Mhm.
So, I mean, at some point, if they're
They're
building
business.
hotels because their data or their gut is saying a hotel would work here,
Mhm.
and that's what the city's saying they want, and conversely, if the city said build apartments here, and they're like, we think we'd make more money on a hotel, that's what we'd rather do, maybe they go, but at the same time, they're probably like, yeah, we're just not interested in doing the apartments, we really want to do the hotel, so at the end of the day, they're gonna kind of pick what is gonna work for them financially,
Right, okay.
based on analytics or their gut, and go that direction. It's gonna be the city to kind of either come along with them and agree, or to be like, yeah. I think the tricky part process-wise is you kind of gotta pick a developer that we like and the direction we want to head, and go down that road until we get to either, you know, an idea and a concept project that's gonna work, or one that won't, right? And then you kind of stuck maybe going back or doing something different, but
Well, that's one of the things that I hope to find out is like when are we gonna know how well you think the hotel's gonna work? Or is this like a thing where we pick you and then you're like, yeah, turns out actually the hotel's not really like gonna work out. And so then we're like, well, I mean, how would we have picked them anyway? You know, there's like other factors there and we may very well have. I mean, I think their stuff is compelling. That's just something that was of interest to me.
So, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, right, like where do we get hooked in?
Well, I was just gonna say, like, I wasn't as concerned about whether or not a boutique hotel would be successful, because if they build it and they find out that it's not successful, then they sell it and it gets like, you know, turned into something else or what have you. Like it's, I don't think that is necessarily as big of an issue, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm missing something completely. But on that note of I guess, where do we make sure that like, oh, yes, we're gonna do this project. Okay, we're gonna purchase the land. Oh, wait, now it's not actually going to work for whatever reason. Like, where can we hold them accountable for what they say they're going to do, or can we?
yeah, I mean, that's all in the contract language, so that's where Ashley gets involved, and we make sure legally we're set and we're not, we can enter into a sale agreement that doesn't close until certain steps are
Okay,
reached, right? So-
okay, cool.
Well, and it may not even matter if we interview them, get through this, come back,
And
or
they say
here,
no.
we look at everything and we go, James, whether or not it's housing or a hotel, Jamestown's our team, you know, like has a better plan, then maybe we just go, all right, guys, try and get us a hotel, if not, or what, you know.
Well, and I think, I mean,
Because
we
if it
could,
gets half built is kind of what I'm thinking of like, if it doesn't work out when it's fully built, that's different than if it doesn't work out when it's half.
yeah, I think that's probably better things to table for a later discussion, negotiating.
Okay.
But I think the first step should just be figuring out what we want to do.
I was talking about the feasibility part of it.
Oh, sure.
Of like how, where the,
You don't want the eyesore in downtown Independence, is what you're.
Oh, yeah.
Well, to me, Jamestown feels more local. I mean, just looking at the personnel, you know, you got an Oregon State grad, you got people from Oregon, you have, you know, the one David James, he's Casper, Wyoming, but most of the others fairly local staff. The others, I think, you know, I'd probably kind of in the area.
I was gonna mention, but since you said local, Turpin used to take snaps from me in high school, Aaron Turpin.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, design principal. Yeah, he was the quarterback. He was like a sophomore when I was a senior. Like our second string that he'd get into games, and I was the center, so we were really close.
You might have some leverage, right? But,
I did,
I don't know him that well, honestly. He said he was 2 years younger than me. I only knew him on the football field for a season and then, but he's gone, I know he went on to play, I think collegiately and did really well.
Went to the University of Nebraska, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, all your architects are even coming out of Oregon.
Yeah.
I think they all have. Yep.
Yeah.
Bachelor's in minor business. I've never heard of Access Architecture. I don't know if they spun off from somebody.
Mhm.
He looks kind of young. Brendan.
Yeah.
This is the
Lever Hamlin.
Access from Hamlin. Not that
I take
youth
points,
is a bad
I
thing.
take points off just assuming it's twice as much paper.
yeah. Well, I mean, just in general, I do just feel like the Jamestown proposal overall is just a lot more polished, kind of.
Maybe I spent a little more time on it.
Yeah. I think the Hamlin one is good. It's just Jamestown, I was like, oh, yeah, this makes sense. No.
It makes almost asks more questions than it answers, seems, in the
Yeah.
Hamlin.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
The other thing that I wanted to make sure does get brought up is the parking
Yeah.
conversation. I think that is legitimately concerning to think about 60 vehicles with nowhere to park. That's a lot of extra cars downtown, just knowing, like, I mean, parking downtown is fine for now, especially with the update. I think things are going well, but 60 extra vehicles, I think would be big ordeal, yeah. It overall to me felt like the Jamestown one feels like they're more all in. The other one seems to be sort of hedging their bets and not investing, investing only what they really need to meet the standard.
That's why they don't have page numbers, because they just, not curating.
Yeah, it does feel a little like Hamlin just sent us everything, like anything that has to do with what we talked, like,
Whatever the marketing team has.
yeah, just that. And whereas like they wrote that Jamestown, like, that's the thing.
I mean, I also kind of got the sense, like our RFQ, I think from what the council said, of like, our first choice would probably be doing some sort of hotel thing. I kind of get the sense that Hamlin was like, well, we're not gonna do that, so we're probably not gonna put a ton of effort into this. I don't know, it's kind of like, it's like if you're applying for a job that you're probably not qualified for, but you're still applying, you're probably not gonna put as much work into the for that job as like the job that you are perfectly qualified for and you're the great candidate for and everything. So I don't know.
Just in the
Yeah.
sense
Right,
of.
yeah, but just,
using
it's not the
hotel part.
perfect fit, maybe.
They might even like it. Yeah, but it's just a response.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, right.
Jamestown does include 17 parking stalls in there. Yeah, which is
That's what they want.
something.
That's better. Yeah.
The other property is where the parking is.
They said they want that building to stay though.
Yeah, the other property, it's just this right here, the west side of
So there's no open space behind it.
I think we own the open space.
That's something.
Yeah.
The shape of this,
They have
not
them
just this, but
across the parking to potentially alleviate that, but it doesn't have to be with this later.
Sure, because we can also, I don't know if you're thinking the same thing, like the city could also implement the parking on Main Street is only for commercial, you can only park for 2 hours, blah, 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 and then if you're a resident or a hotel guest, you have to park on side streets or something.
I was thinking like Disneyland, they have the tram that takes you to your car parking lot. If they have another piece of land.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They do actually mention that in here.
I didn't get to that.
They talk about the potential of having valet.
Yeah.
for-
Some of the Portland hotels.
Or
Which is an advantage of a hotel, is that they can do that kind of thing, whereas like an apartment building, unless it's like a real nice work.
Well, that's helpful. Again, I'm sure the council members appreciate having the insight and they'll share those. We'll probably write something up and get it to the other 4 members of the council that weren't here prior to the interviews, but I thought this was helpful. To go through it, and yeah, if you've got an interest, just shoot me a quick email, just, you can even just respond to the email on the meeting. If you're interested in doing that, or maybe we just talk about that. Is there interest in being with the city council and doing that, and we could do a combined economic development, housing, economic development, and city council meeting, and we could really intimidate them when they come in? You want to just attend and be in the audience and kind of just watch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, great. I'd be interested in coming.
Monday 13th?
Yeah,
At what time?
7 PM on the
7.
13th.
Well, no, it wouldn't be at 7, because we're gonna do it early.
Okay, just
We would do
kidding.
it at 5:30 for the first one, and probably 6:10 or 6:15 for the second one. Do like 40 minutes each or something.
Interested, but I can't commit yet.
Okay.
What day of the week is?
Monday.
So let's leave it at that. Just shoot me an email. Let me know if you're available and interested to be there.
Well, we already got 2, 3.
Yeah.
Two.
Because we got you two say yes, and then you two maybe, is that,
Yeah.
you're a yes, or?
And then Whitney,
Yeah, Mondays work for me.
Okay.
Just get on.
Winnie, are you interested in?
Yeah,
I just like you to go ahead and notice, we can always pull off the notice.
Let's plan it, but
Okay.
it'll just be that work session meeting. It won't
Okay,
be for
yeah.
regular council meeting, so just for that. I'm gonna call it a work session, not all we're gonna call it yet.
Special meeting, special joint meeting.
Special joint meeting.
And is this the agenda for the special meeting?
It'll just be the 2 interviews, yeah.
Oh, the first meeting is the interview.
The 5:30 to 7.
Oh, each one of them,
it's presentations.
both in chairs and.
No, we're doing one, yeah. We're gonna do one from like 5:30 to 7:15, or 6:15, another one from 6:15 to 7.
Yeah, and we, in all honesty, I mean, council talked to both of them and have additional questions, want to hear from them again, right? They might resubmit something, so our process in the RFQ leaves us pretty open. RFP is a lot more specific, like when you do RFP, there's a very set time frame and time and stuff, but the RFQ, we're still kind of in the dating phase, if you will, it's my previous analogy. It gives them a leg or a foot in the door for the RFQ, or for the RFP. When it comes out, we'll be releasing to these 2. So it definitely gives the foot in the door for them. But we can take a little bit more time if we need to, and I don't know who will put best foot forward and who the council feels, if the council feels comfortable with one and not so much the other, then we'll probably go that direction, but I don't know, we'll see. But again, either way, this is really, really helpful to digest these a little bit more, so thanks for that. I will plan on doing that 5:30 to 7 o'clock, or till 7, 10 to 7. We'll do that combined, so come if you can come, we'll send an invitation out to you. I'll also send you kind of the short notes page that is generated from this meeting that'll go out to all of the council members. So you've got that. And then, yeah, we'll make sure that we've got time for everybody to pose questions and ask stuff and see how they do. See if one of them can get ahead of the other. We'll see. I was just happy to get 2 responses. Told the mayor, it's like, the analogy I can use, it's like, I feel like we put a worm on a hook and threw it in the water and just want to see what happens.
Yeah.
And it's like, we got 2 really good fish, I feel like, so it's like, this is great,
I mean, obviously, I think it's a great idea, but I have no idea if anyone else. So,
Well, it's a great idea for us.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, it's just, yeah, it was reassuring to see that people who know more what they're talking about when it comes to these kind of things are also interested.
is there's still time for other companies to, no, it's,
Closed it, yeah. You had it open through the 1st or the 3rd or something like that, so, yeah, it's closed at this point.
Must have been the 3rd, because they both turned it in on the 2nd.
Yeah. All right, I'll turn the time back over to our chair.
Any additional business to go over?
Well, I'll just note that, I heard from a couple people in the community who are also renters, I'm a renter, who said that, well, maybe it would be cool if our committee at some point looked at renting, whatchamacallit, like, God, wow, I can't brain. Laws protecting renters.
Rent rights.
Thank you. Because I know that the state of Oregon has them, but like, if there's any way that we can help those who are already here. I don't quite know enough about it to know whether it's something that we could look into, but anyway. Just thought I'd bring it up.
I just wanted to share one other update that is related to housing and economic development. Because it's the only thing I'm talking about these days. Which was in the Fallen with News this morning, but just that the city is on track to get $2.65 million from the state to help construct a new sewer line up North 19th Street onto Industrial Way. And that is directly tied towards potential future development for housing or the industrial land up there. Because we're already at capacity for our sewer on the north side of town. And so there hasn't been any opportunity for any additional development because there's nowhere to put the sewage right now. And so the intent with that project is just to allow, to sort of unlock potential additional development as it comes.
Under the map,
Sure.
How is
map guy.
capacity, how's the capacity at the treatment facility?
It should be fine, I think, at least for this.
So, sewer pump station on the Public Works Yard is right here on Willow. Another pump station down here on the Willow. This is the school, middle school. So this is the new subdivision went in. So there's a pump station right here, and there's a pump station here. This pump station takes everything from this end of town to about here. And everything new that's up there has to funnel to this new pump station, because this pump station will be at capacity when this fully develops, including some areas that aren't developed fully yet. When this fully develops, it's all going to this pump station and it's not getting any bigger. So everything new north of, we say North 12th Street, but really it's north of like the top of 11th Street up. All of this has to take its sewage down to this pump station. So the new line the mayor just talked about will go from College Street, which is where the current sewer line main ends. We'll go up 19th Street, across Industrial Way,
Wow.
up into this residential area. So all this sewage is gonna funnel through the pipes to here and then make the route down here to the pump station. So this sewer line from here to here is about $3 million to install, which is more money than any individual development up in here would be able to pay for, right? You're gonna build 20 houses and you got a $3 million bill per sewer, just doesn't pencil out. So the city was kind of limited on being able to grow up here, even though there's properties that are inside city limits ready to build homes, but they don't have access to a sewer line that can get to the correct pump station.
So is that
they've been hampered not being
gravity
able to
fed, or
develop.
do you have to put some pumping up there too?
No, it's all gravity fed.
Okay.
So everything will be gravity fed. Fortunately, this is uphill and this is downhill. So everything will flow gravity wise. Yep. So that's the big deal. And I think the mayor said to reported yesterday to Brad, that's money that sewer ratepayers don't have to pay, right? So households and businesses don't have to pay. Future homeowners that would have to pay like system development charges, developers have to pay those SDCs to connect to city sewer. That they don't have to pay that anymore, so it helps the housing be a little bit more affordable for them. So it's a $3 million difference, right? So it's a pretty big deal. And most importantly, again, short of the city borrowing money and building that project and hoping to get paid back over time, now we've got that $3 million, we could build it. And it's gonna open up all of that northern area for future development for housing. So,
Will there be no limited improvement districts to connect? I mean, you'll have connection fees, but
just the SDCs. So yeah, just SDCs. So yeah, we won't charge extra because we're getting it. If the city would have built it, we would have done a local improvement district, and to build and connect, you would have had to pay into it, or we do a reimbursement district. But since we're getting the grant, we won't.
We'll do that.
That's great.
Again, keep the costs down. So, thanks for sharing. That's
Yeah,
big
I
news.
just figured, you know,
It's a few years out, a few years out. It's gonna
Can't
take a little while to
remember
get
which
the money in,
representative,
engineered.
we were somebody's top project.
yeah, we worked with Senator Dick Anderson, who submitted the project, and then it was supported in the House by Rep. Gomberg, who's our rep. So, yeah, it worked out. But as Chris was saying, we won't actually receive the money until next year, just the way the funding cycle works. But the legislature passed that we should receive the money. So, and I think the governor might have signed it today. I got some alert, so we'll see. If she vetoed that bill, she would have bigger problems. So, because that's the same bill that all the other money is in. So anyway, yeah. Any other questions or anything? All right.
Anything else for good of the order? So, meeting adjourned?
Yep.
Adjourned. Great.
Sounds good. We'll see y'all on the 13th.
7:37.
Everything's not that good?
Yeah, I know. Look at you. Real